I'm supposed to know this. I'm supposed to know this already. Ah!
If the country is so bad, why are still people wanting to come here? Not other places.
Because
now
we're weak.
Well, it could be because our borders are wide open on the bottom. I agree with that.
That's another good point. Remember, as MJ said earlier, that it's not that they're coming here because, oh my God, I love America so much. It's just like, well, I can make a lot more money in America, which slightly different, but very much different.
Can't get into Japan. They don't care if you're born there, live there. They're like, you're never becoming a citizen.
But guess what? You got a lot of other options to go to. People still from the Middle East, they dream about coming to America. People still from, Russia, other places, still want to come here. China's net migration is in the negative. They're losing people.
I think it's because we control, and that speaks to the poll that you mentioned about cultural significance. I think that we dominate Hollywood, we dominate the media, and they have an idea of what America is. And I think probably when they get here, it's not what they thought.
So what would be a better country?
I'm just saying that, like,
that's interesting that they see the movie. And I just before we were watching this, I had a TikTok that was this English woman who moved to, I think it said Texas or something. I don't know, but she moved to America and she was talking about like how she had never been here to check things out. She'd only seen things in the movies and she thought it was like the Wild West with like saloons on the corner and everything. And so that's a great point about how much media is, or not how much, but the way in which media is exported from this country. That there's a very squeaky clean image of what we want, we meaning the government, wants them to see. I mean, take a look at any even poster from a Marvel movie in the West versus in China. Why not? MCU poster, USA versus China. This AI thing. All right, so let's see. Perfect example. We have. I swear to God, if this is tiny, I'm gonna murder some. Okay, well, I didn't want to do that, but image. Why is it? Okay, whatever. I don't care. What is happening? All right, and we'll do this one. Thank you. So you can see that in China, they didn't want to show a black man on the thing. So they this is not what is this? This is like some Batman shit. Then they have like all these. You can see differences on this is the Chinese one. They move all the black characters, the non-white characters, all that kind of stuff. They mess around with it because they export the message that they want to be seen. All right, Zippy, you have a good one. Feel better, sir. The bill says the media and government are both owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, part of how the whole system is devious. BlackRock and Vanguard, top investors in basically all publicly traded companies, banks, oil companies, media companies, etc. All of it. I believe they said 88% of the S&P 500 or something like that. I don't know 100% exactly what that means, but it means that they control a lot. Zig says the Demons and the Republicans is the problem. They do as they please. All right, good one. Bill Bradley says the DNC and the GOP do what international finance tells them to do. The international financiers own interest in all publicly traded companies. They have access to almost incalculable wealth. Yep, but yet they still got a money grub and take 30% of everything that I get from YouTube, and they got to tax. Oh my God, tax your dollar to shit, right? God damn.
You get here, it's not what they thought.
So what would be a better country?
I'm just saying that, like, I'm just trying to think of why people want to get to America, because at one point we were those things. It's I always liken it to what I thought Los Angeles was gonna be before I got there. I remember my whole life I was like dreaming to go to Los Angeles.
Hollywood.
Yes, I was like Hollywood. Yeah. Oh my God, amazing. And then when I had my
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that if you've never been to LA and you just this is what it's in the movies, and this is within your own country. So why would you think that if you're in the Middle East, or if you're in China, or if you're in South America, why would you think anything? Why would you have a better understanding of what America is really like?
First trip out to LA,
Horrible.
I was like, this looks like a dilapidated South American city.
Yeah.
I would say,
Seriously.
let me give you another perspective on this to be thinking about. In America, you still have 50 options. Okay. You can live in America and have 50 choices, meaning you don't like California, go to Florida. By the way, Newsom has to answer the question, why under your watch the greatest state lost people since 1851? And why are they still losing money? Why is it that data comes out showing the AGI, the top 10 highest tax states in America, lost $341 billion of tax revenue?
And they lost it to states that have lower taxes, right?
And the bottom lowest tax states gained $341 billion.
Like, obviously, that money went somewhere.
You have to make the argument. So in America, you have options to go different places. I can go to a different region and have to have low regulation. You know, people in Florida are complaining about the fact that teachers, the teachers who are woke, they're not protected in Florida. Great, go to California. Totally okay with that. So that's the thing about America. Because it has the Constitution set up the way it is, you can compete. And if you don't like the policies in a state, there's still another state for you.
So is he, it sounds like he's kind of putting forth this notion of a soft national divorce, where we naturally migrate to the states that have the laws and the culture that we prefer. That's what it sounds like he's proposing, because I've heard, I mean, I haven't done a deep dive or anything, but I've heard people who talk about, like, yes, let's do a national divorce, let's just get it over with, and then a lot of other people saying, like, that's not going to work. That's just not going to work. And I don't know enough to understand why it wouldn't work. But from what I remember hearing at the time, there's just too many intricacies of splitting the country into two different countries. But if we can remain as the United States, but there are two clear delineations, or there's two clearly different types of states that don't even have, it doesn't even have to be like the left and the right side, or the top or the bottom. It could just be this is a red state, this is a blue state, this is a red state, this is a blue state. And in these states, then they behave like different countries. We're just all under the same red, white, and blue. Sounds like a good idea to me. But Bradley says advocating for states' rights is how I took it. Okay, fair enough. Which, in theoretically, with the culture war, would probably lead to that soft divorce, right? Bill goes on to say, which is the original idea? United States, a union of semi-autonomous states. That was the initial idea. Yeah, but that's the founding fathers. What do they know?
Yeah.
And if you want to, find a way to improve, run for office, do something about it. You can change. But, these things, there's options in America. Tom, I think you're going to say something.
Yeah, and this story we're talking about, the ranking, you have to understand how these rankings are done. This is the media putting together this ranking, asking people about 20 questions. What do you think about America for sports, for economy, for scenic beauty, all these things?
Okay, so MJ, this is what he's talking about right now is how they, what kind of things they were asking about when they were ranking the countries.
People about ranking. You have to understand how these rankings are done. This is the media putting together this ranking, asking people about 20 questions. What do you think about America for sports, for economy, for scenic beauty, all these things? And then they make the ranking together. Americans did not say, I have UK number 1, New Zealand number 2, and USA number 3. First of all, if I showed most Americans a map of the Hawaiian Islands and I said, which one is New Zealand? They'd pick one. So, let's talk about reality. But you understand, they make a ranking out of this, and then U.S. News, not known for centrist values, comes out and says Americans ranked. No, Americans didn't rank. They asked a bunch of perceptions, and they put together basically a golf score, and America ends up in 3rd place.
That's what we call media fuckery, or on this channel, semantic obfuscation, using words in a way that they are not meant to be used to try to push across a message that doesn't correlate with reality.
And so I think that there's also things going on like that, where the media is trying to find ways to kind of propagate this "we ain't so good." And I'm with
We
you on the
ain't
vision.
so
I have
good.
tremendous hope and confidence in the future vision. Do I think that there needs to be bottoming points, like when an alcoholic uncle reaches the bottom and decides he's going to change? I think countries need those bottoming points.
And that's what happens with the fourth turning. That we are now the weak men who are about to bring on the bad times. Hopefully, we are closer to the bad times than the weak men, but we are in that part of the cycle. That good times bring weak men. Us, we are the weak men. Unfortunately, and it's not gendered. So, ladies, y'all are weak too. We're all weak as fuck. We are bringing on bad times. Things are getting worse. But we can start to see things change because bad times bring strong men. And what do strong men bring? Good times. So maybe in our maybe in our lifetime, we will be able to see an America that we can be proud of again. Maybe. Just maybe. Bill said these bad times vilify strong men, however. Not sure that was true at any other point in history. Great point. Very, very, very sad. But it is a great point. Daniel says, no, sir. Strong men bring toxic masculinity. The left said so. Good one. Montefello said, men are weak? Yes.
Hell yeah.
+2 social. Oh, Morty. God damn. Oh. Dog farts. Be like. Anyway, sorry. Jesus. Men are weak, +2 social points. Women are weak, -10 social points for being a misogynist. Welcome to America.
Still think this is the greatest place. I agree that it's the greatest parchment ever produced in terms of the American experiment. But I also think that right now we have a ton of issues. And number one is we can't have our own national, media trying to find the good in it instead of gleefully talking about a stack ranking, which if Americans had actually spent one day in London, they'd come back home and they'd be voting a
This is
hell of a
kind of
lot.
where this is where I was going with Candace before you asked me about how I felt about
Sorry to
America.
rant.
No, I love that.
Which
that
I
was
think
fantastic.
needs to be expressed.
I'm totally okay with that. No, what I was going to ask is, Joe Kirby's being interviewed and being asked about, hey, how do you feel about where Joseph Biden is, where the president is, comments he's making, all this other stuff. And, he says the biggest issue in America is white supremacy. What do you think the biggest issue in America today is?
Well, I mean, obviously it's white supremacy. Like, is there a bigger problem facing Americans than white supremacy? I mean, really? Wait. There's people out here thinking, unironically, that there's problems in America facing Americans that's bigger than white supremacy. No, it can't possibly be.
Oh gosh, the white supremacy. They're just never going to let it go. They're never going to let it go. I think I've testified twice on hearings where they are trying to tell you that white supremacy is the biggest issue.
You were at the hate crime hearing where you just ruined everybody. You fact checked everybody in real time. Jerry Nadler, everybody was like, you had everybody stunned, which was amazing. If people haven't seen
that was awesome.
And I go check that.
And that's
if you have not seen that, check that out.
Infuriating because I remember I said in my congressional testimony, if I had to make a list of 100 things that were impacting Americans, white supremacy wouldn't make the list. And I mean that seriously. Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question. I can give you a few things that are ranked very importantly, but I don't want to say what I would say is first. But
yeah, Bill says we can't have more than half of U.S. adults reading at a 6th grade level or less. Literally, most adults in the U.S. are functionally illiterate. They're intentionally keeping us stupid. And this is something that, all right, I'm going to see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Let's go.
I'm sorry. I'm learning how to read, y'all. It's either this or I turn off the camera and just be angry and don't learn. Because regardless, this is why people give up. When you see an adult and they be like, why you never learn? Like, because this is what they would have to go through. I don't know if they'll go through it like me, but I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know how to read and you're an adult and you're going to start learning how to read, you will not get through this without any vulnerability, bro. Like, you don't. Ah!
I cannot imagine not being able to to articulate, because you don't know the words. You don't know, like, you know enough to talk, but listen to the frustration in this man's voice.
I'm supposed to know this. I'm supposed to know this shit already. Ah! Stay up, baby. Don't give up. Ah! Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. You learning, yo. You learning how to read. You learning. That's what it is. Let's go. Let's go. And so Weber came home to visit beloved Manor Pile in the barn cellar. His was a strange homecoming. Around his neck, he wore a medal of honor. In his mouth, he held a sack of spider eggs. They're supposed to know this stuff, yo. I'm supposed to already know how to read. I'm supposed to get this. Let's go. I need it, baby. I need it all. Let's go. Let's go. You breathing. Let's read. Let's go.
And maybe you're saying, you know, he's playing it up for the camera. Maybe he really does know how to read. Maybe all that, whatever. I can attest to absolutely inspiring as hell. I can attest to a number. If he's acting, then he needs to get to Hollywood immediately, because the amount of pain that is shown from just this one man. And what does Bill say? We can't have more than half of U.S. adults reading at this level. They're functionally illiterate, and they're intentionally keeping us stupid. And so I play that because it can be so far away from our experience to understand not being able to read, and certainly not being able to read as an adult. And it's not funny. It's not funny at all. Facts. I mean, I don't think a lot of people who are at that, who struggle with that, I don't think they have the drive. And I'm not blaming them. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we all have our personal responsibility to get our shit done. But clearly, I was put in a luckier position than he was. And if I made it to this age and didn't know how to read, I can't tell you that I would learn. I can't tell you that. I wish that I knew. I feel like I would, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, exactly. If only the majority of people had that drive. Yeah. So he is Oliver Speaks. Oliver Speaks on or Oliver Speaks 1 on TikTok if you want to give him a follow. Because you know, there's different, you know, there's different stuff. This was a sadder one. Obviously the sadder ones get more views, so that was the first one. But you know, it's a legit journey, and it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see that somebody's willing to not only do that, not only go through that, but to share that and to say to other people, hey, we're out here. And if you're one of us, an adult who can't read, you're not stupid, you're not bad. And more than that, you can change. This dog. Hey, make sure you like this video and leave a comment saying we're all behind this dude for us, because that is some ish. That man needs to know there's a bunch of us who support him. Said shit, me too. No, seriously though, absolutely. I completely agree. Unwanted Foe said it's great that he's improving himself, but man, it's easy to understand how frustrating it would be to try living in a country where you can't read the language, then add on the fact that you grew up there. Yeah. And you know, at least mentally, because what did he say 4 or 5 times? I should know this. I'm supposed to know this. You get dropped in a foreign country where they don't speak English and you speak English and you can read fine. Well, then you know, that's a completely different thing. There is nowhere in the world that man can go and understand anything that's on paper. I mean, obviously, you know, he's learning, but, and I mean, as somebody who was just lucky to be not only born into a family that didn't have to worry about things like that. I was born as a relatively, you know, intelligent person where I didn't have to try hard in school. I don't have I cannot ever understand. I can sympathize, but I can never empathize with that man. Nick says, as a dyslexic, I felt like that when I was young. Luckily, I have a great mom who found a place where they could teach me the way I learn more easily. It was a tough thing, but I'm grateful I learned. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Zig says, no excuse for not being able to read at his age. In the most advanced time in the most advanced nation. So this is just, I'm going to chalk this up to your lack of experience with the nuance of America. This is exactly what we're talking about, because it does seem crazy, right? It seems unfathomable that in the United States of America, there would be places that the kids aren't learning to read. But yeah, dude. And it's not a small number. It's a crazy, crazy high number. I'm pretty sure not one child from the LeBron James school passed 8th grade reading or math. Bill says the problem is not the adult that can't read. It is the school system that churns out illiterate people. Absolutely. Bingo. Absolutely. School systems and the parents. Yep. Broken homes raise broken kids. Yeah, that's exactly. So this is one-to-one exactly what I was talking to MJ about. It's not the government's responsibility to make sure that he reads. It's the government's responsibility to make sure that he goes to the school and goes through the lessons. But at the same time, it's clearly the school's fault, the systems and their parents that failed this man as a young boy who had no understanding of what it would be like to be an adult who couldn't read, with everybody around him who would know. And they just didn't care. And again, maybe they didn't care because a bunch of other people in their environment didn't know how to read. And maybe it just wasn't something that was super relevant. As long as you knew how to read stop signs, there's a lot of places where you could live without having to read anything beyond a 5-letter word. There isn't a single entity. And that's the sad part, man. It's like, yeah, we are this is the most advanced, what did you say? The most advanced time in the most advanced nation. And yet we see that. So, I mean, and like Bill said, it's not his fault. Bill says, most adults in the U.S. read at a 6th grade level or less. It is illegal for kids to drop out of school that young. So how can a kid get out of school without being able to read at least the level grade they have to be to legally allowed to quit going to school? That means that somebody, some guardian or parent allowed that child to fail and stop learning. Bill says, this system wants us illiterate. It makes people easier to control. This is all anything ever comes down to is control. Money and control. But really, money is about power. It's all about control. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.